I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. That's your biggest investment, and it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most people are very concerned about this catch-22. What comes first? Sell first, then live in temporary housing, or buy first, then sell at your leisure. So what are some solutions that you've come up with, Barb, at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty?
Well, that's our company name, and we do have solutions for people. And I think it's because we want to give the clients what they most want: certainty that their house will sell, certainty that they're going to get the price that they want and need, certainty that things will go smoothly and that their sale will go through, and certainty that they're going to find their destination. And of course, having the funds when they sell their home to improve their lifestyle. So let's talk about different ways you can do that. So first of all, what about a cash buyer? So a cash buyer generally is good. Now, there are a small percentage of buyers that buy homes for cash, right? Many times those buyers expect a discount. Not always, but many times they do. And then there's the kind of investor buyers that will come in, and typically they're a little bit below market value, but they give you that certainty that you know your home is sold. I just had some emails yesterday with a gentleman that, I don't know how they do this, but basically they pose as the buyer, and I think they front the money for the seller to go buy their next home. It's really interesting strategy. And I'm sure there's a cost for borrowing that money. They're almost like what they call a hard money lender. But there are some people that will go to those lengths just to make sure that they don't have to worry about moving twice, that they don't have to worry about the deal falling through. And we have solutions like that as well. A couple years back, I had a home seller that wanted to sell his home. And pretty much right when we were ready to go on the market, we actually had the home up on the market, getting ready to show that weekend. And I was already getting offers before anybody saw the home. And of course, I have to present all offers. So I sent the seller the offer. Well, by then, he's already looking at his destination in Florida, and his agent out there, and said, hey, if you take that offer, we can guarantee that we'll get you the house out here. So, there are some buyers that will take the risk of maybe not getting a little bit more money to know for sure that they can get into the destination that they want. And I've had experiences, Richard, where real estate agents will lie to me. It's not happened once, it's happened twice, where they lied to me about their buyers having a house to sell. And the first one happened, it was probably, I don't know, maybe about 2 years back, really, really pretty home. And the agent said something like, well, if you don't accept our offer now, we're just going to withdraw it. We're going to walk away. So forget it. And it was a really strong offer. So it was kind of hard for the seller to turn it down. I did my due diligence. I called the lender, asked the question, do they need to sell a home to perform? No, it's all good. Everything's fine. Okay, great. And then 3 weeks go by. And then I get an email from the agent going, hey, the house that they're selling that I didn't tell you about, caveat, is the deal fell apart. So if you will not extend our contract, we're terminating, as if he was in a position of power. But we already had a backup contract in position. So the seller goes, it's not my problem. Bye-bye, go away.
Jeez.
But, and it happened again last year. I was selling a home out there on the acreage, kind of east of Fountain. And in this case, the seller was home. This is why agents ask the seller not to be home during showings. I don't mind either way, but basically there's a conversation that could take place. Real estate agents are trained to gather intel. So they will try to make friends with you and try to get information about your motivation to sell in order to give an advantage in the negotiations. That's the main reason why we don't want sellers home during the showing, but it is your home. We can't ask you to leave. And in his case, he wasn't going to leave. So sure enough, this buyer comes by, looks at the home, told him everything he wanted to hear. Oh, don't worry about fixing that broken thing in the bathroom, and don't worry about that big pile of mess out there. I'll take care of that. Just leave it. It's fine. So he really wanted this buyer. We ended up getting 4 offers, and he's like, I really want that buyer, really want that buyer. I said, okay. So we looked at the offer. We drafted a counter proposal. It was a good offer. And I was just about to hit send. And something bothered me about the offer. It didn't say anything about they had a house to sell, but there was something weird in the financing. The type of financing was FHA, which means you put 3.5% down. In this case, he's only putting 1,000 down. And I'm like, okay, just something not right. I wonder if he's getting down payment assistance. So I picked up the phone, called the lender. The lender pre-approval looked really, really good. It answered all the questions at that point that I normally would ask, that they verified their income and their tax returns, that the loan has already been pre-approved through automatic underwriting. It was all good, right? So I asked the lender, I said, hey, is this buyer getting down payment assistance? Because there's a real low down payment here. And he goes, no, but they have a house to sell. I'm like, okay, what is the address? So because he goes, oh, I'm sure they've already sold it. I'm like, oh, what's the address? So I looked it up. Sure enough, it had just hit the market that day. It was not sold. And the agent didn't tell me the truth, that that buyer had to sell a home in order to perform. So fortunately, I had not sent the counter proposal, because had I done that and the buyer signed it, the seller would have been committed for that sale. They would have still had to wait through the process, whether or not this guy sold his home, which is just unbelievable that the contracts are that way, but they are. There are very few outs for the seller, and that's my job, is to protect them during the process. So I asked the seller, do you want to go forward with this buyer now, knowing that new information? And the answer was no. And we pivoted to another buyer. Just recently, Richard, another story. I think I was telling you about this last week, where this agent, I don't know if they were using Google or something to pretend to be me online, and they got one of my clients to click on their ad. They called my client and he goes, hey, do you work with Barb? Oh yeah, we work with Barb. They even went over to their house and claimed that they work with Barb. Then I get a phone call from that seller going, hey, we just signed up with this guy and everything's good. We signed the agreement. We're doing the pictures. And I was just so confused. I didn't understand who this was or what he was talking about. I finally asked him the address. We got off the phone and I thought, okay, somebody obviously was saying that they work with me in some way and that they got a listing out of it. Then 3 weeks go by and this house wasn't selling. That same guy called me again and said, hey, how about your guarantee? What's going on with your guarantee? I got this thing. I haven't heard from your agent, so-and-so. And I'm like, okay, I remember our last phone call. And at first I was confused. I looked it up after, and now I know what was going on. And I just want you to know, I hate to tell you this, but I am not your agent. You didn't sign an agreement with me or anybody on my team. It was somebody else. And he's like, what? He had no idea, Richard. Can you imagine being deceived about who you're signing an agreement with?
I would be so angry, so confused. And I can see where you're at. Here you have got somebody who is pretending to be you. And all of a sudden you're getting a phone call from somebody who they think they're trusting Barb Schlinker, your home sold guaranteed realty.
Right.
And instead they got somebody else.
Right. And he's making me look bad because
Yep.
not even answering his calls.
Yep.
And it wasn't me. It was some other real estate brokerage. Oh, it was bad. I still got to deal with that issue. But I'm just saying that, people don't. And I think he asked me, well, are there a bunch of shysters in this industry? And I'm like, I can't speak to that, but I can tell you, I know the numbers, which are just looking in the Pikes Peak region as an example, there are 4,600 agents and there may only be 800 sales in a month. So most of them are not getting paid. So if you think they would stretch the truth a bit just to get the seller to sign on a dotted line, yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised that that kind of thing happens more often than not. So anyway, and there's no penalty for it, Anyway, so what we offer is a certain level of certainty. So we have a guaranteed sale program. We have a team that's designed to get you top dollar. We have a team that offers the least amount of hassle when you're selling a home. And we also guarantee a smooth on-time closing. So the biggest dilemma for home sellers typically is that they have a house to sell. How are they going to deal with that issue? So one of our guarantees, if they move up to one of our listings, we can guarantee the sale of theirs. And many times, if they are going to make an offer on another property, their offer will get rejected if they have to perform by selling a home first before they can sell. So we're a team that has your back. We don't just rely on agents' words and what they say. We'll go check it out. We'll verify it. We'll check it out with the lender. And we can point you in the right direction where if you don't fit in the box of the guaranteed sale, we've got cash buyers. We've got easy ways to pull your home equity line out of your home. We've got 62 high net worth buyers that will actually pay cash for most homes and solve that problem right out of the gate. And what's cool about it is we put them into our buyer bid box and they compete for between each other to make an offer on your home. Or you could tap into our 27,000 buyers in waiting, many of which will pay 100% of market value for your home. And that's how you get the most money. So I'm Barb Schlinker with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And we're talking about the guaranteed sale program. You can call me anytime at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
And if you do that, you get the real Barb Schlinker, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and that is barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, one of the things we love doing is talking about your hot new listings up and down the Front Range. What do you have this week?
Well, I have an adorable starter home on Deanne Lane in Pueblo, priced under $200,000, a beautiful home on Drakestone with a brand new high-end kitchen in the low 400s. A gorgeous condo or townhome rather with spectacular views right off the Air Force Academy on Club Villa Drive in the mid 400s, a beautiful home on Wagonhammer, 4 bedrooms close to Fort Carson and Peterson. New to the market this week, a spectacular home on 5+ acres with a barn, great ranch, fresh carpet and paint, fabulous acreage property right in town, and a beautiful home on 40 acres. Priced just under $1 million with a barn. Spectacular properties. There are a lot more. Those are featured on barbhasthebuyers.com, or you can give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every weekend. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And remember, you can always see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker, or you can listen to the podcast on all of the popular platforms. Just search Barb Schlinker. You'll find it there. Thank you for listening. And to reach out to Barb, call 719-301-3900. Have a great week. Barb, thank you so much for giving us all of this information.
Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.